Okay, we're going to go ahead and start the webinar on WiSys Agility for SAP Business One. And we are recording this webinar, so if you have a problem with that, please exit. And this recording will be available. We'll send it to you, and it'll be available on our website and YouTube to view it later. I'm Scott Long, Director of Product Marketing here at WiSys, and we also have Aaron Armendariz, our sales consultant, and we sort of spearhead the agility for SAP Business One here at WiSys. I'm going to talk about our products, show you our Essentials product and our desktop and some other functions, and then talk about some things that we could do next. WiSys has been around for a long time. We have a lot of customers. Currently, we have a lot of customers in the Macola space, and the last 4 years, we are gaining customers in the SAP Business One space, and we're certified for both the HANA version and the SQL version of SAP Business One. We have a few different products. Like I mentioned, we're going to go over the Agility Essentials product, which are really all the standard transactions in Business One. And I have a list of them up here on the screen. One thing to note that we integrate directly with the Business One tables. So we don't have separate tables for our application. We use the Business One tables. So when you do a goods issue or a receipt or a delivery on our mobile device, it happens at Business One immediately. The only exception we have is with our pallet subsystem, because SAP doesn't have a way to put pallets and cartons into the system and track those separately. Also with our Essentials product, we have an integrated label and document printing solution, which I'll briefly go over as well. We have an additional Pallet Module, which allows you to build pallets, print license plates, move pallets around your warehouse, break pallets down to maybe picking locations, and then actually start shipping pallets. Our Fulfillment Module allows one to build shipments, either pallets or cartons, and from there you could start shipping your pallets or cartons, print bills of lading, print labels. We have an integration with ShipRush for FedEx, UPS, and USPS. We also can integrate to most other shipping applications such as WorldShip, Starship, things like that. And our shipping fulfillment solution would be the integration for your EDI, where we're updating the delivery orders, the tables that have to do with packing slips and tables within that. One of our other solutions is Agility Desktop. So our application not only runs on mobile devices, it also runs on the desktop. And all that a user needs is an indirect license to run it. So you could run these desktop applications, which could just be views, or they actually could be process grids that process transactions. And we'll briefly cover that as well. We have a design which allows you or us to modify the screens on the mobile devices and on the desktop. So if you have some user-defined fields, there's some specific logic that you want some fields removed, some things like that, that's where our design tools are used. In fact, we developed our application using our design tools. And here is a desktop custom grid that I'll be going over in more detail. So we're going to go over the desktop, the Essentials mobile, show you composite transactions, which are really powerful, and briefly go over our inventory allocation product that we're working on. And we have online documentation on our website and on our YouTube site. So how all the functions work is easily viewed. So I'm first going to go over some of the desktop solutions. So you can create a process or a view grid with Agility and launch it from within Business One, or you could launch it outside of Business One. So if there's some shop floor or supervisors out on the floor or the shipping department, you can access these grids from outside of Business One. And just to show you some things here, we did some, you have some ability for colors. You know, I have past due in this deeper red. I have unapproved orders showing up here. If I click on an order, I can see the line items at the bottom show up related to that order. We have hyperlinks that allow one to call up that SAP order right from there. If we're within Business One, I can launch and create a new sales order from here, a quotation, a sales request. And the point is we can put any function within Business One on this menu bar. So this could be a place where you start to use Business One, at least maybe for customer service or order processing. We have a lot of grids that come with the essentials, quotations, orders, pick list, deliveries. We have purchasing grids, production grids. An example on the production side, I created a grid for production resources, and here I'm looking at it by resource group. Maybe I want to see everything in my C&C group, which happens to be these four, actually 3 production orders. This production order goes through the C&C twice. And the point here is this could be like a work center dispatch report. This could be set up to, and all of our grids could be set up to project to a big monitor out in the shop or the warehouse. And again, we have these hyperlinks, and you have the ability to have different layouts. So if I went back to my sales order grid, I have a few different layouts. I have one that says, show me all the orders that are scheduled to go out on the trucks. I have another grid for customer summary. And then depending on your authorization, you may have the ability to move columns around. There's a lot of columns in the SQL query behind the scenes that you can pick and add to this. So again, with the right authorizations, you can have custom grids or view grids based on your specific needs. We have something in Business One called process grids, and you can do Business One transactions off of these process grids, or there could be some custom logic, updating some custom user-defined tables. What I have set up here is purchase orders coming into an in-transit warehouse called 04. And what I'm doing here is what we call a composite transaction. I'm actually doing a PO receipt right now and then creating a warehouse transfer. So if I have to take ownership of something or of the product from the vendor, I actually created a purchase order receipt and then created a transfer request for everything that was on that purchase order. So the PO receipt allows me to pay the vendor through accounts payable easily. I take ownership of it into an in-transit warehouse, and then as the container or containers arrive, I could be doing inventory transfer request transactions to bring the product off the container. Now I wanted to actually get into the mobile device itself. So I just have an emulator running right here. Let me call up the purchase order I wanted to view. So the functions on here are all, you can define who sees what. This will also work with multiple databases within Business One. And you have some defaults for each handheld device. So I have some options where I could say, what's my standard receiving bin? What's my production bin, my inventory transaction receipt bin? As a default, this device is working with Warehouse 5. I have some put away defaults. I can look at this menu differently. And Right now we're supporting Latin American, Spanish, and English, but we have a tool that allows for really any other language to be translated in here. For functions like, say, production receipts, I have it set up that when I do a production receipt, I print labels or a label, and you actually can have multiple labels types and or multiple crystal reports automatically printing from a mobile device. And here I just have a production finished good label, and then you could define what printer that this specific device, that document goes to when this device is used. So again, we have a lot of functions here off the mobile device. I'm not obviously going to go through every one of them, but just showing you maybe a goods receipt, and I have that called up in the background. Scanning the order number, the item, and you see it defaults to bin 05D. I set this to default to go to the dock. We could actually just put it right away, but I have this going to the dock in this case. Scanning some more items. And when I'm done, the way I have this set up, when I'm done, I do a post, and that actually does immediately the SAP goods receipt PO. Since I had everything going to the dock, I could then do a put away transaction, which takes whatever's sitting at the dock, which in this case relates to this purchase order. So I can see that I have 120 sitting on the dock of this item. My default bin, as I take it to it, I would scan the bin. How many pieces am I taking? And there I just did a bin transfer in SAP. I can also override the bin it goes to. So again, if somebody needs to use this put away, that's the way to do that. Just going through it, goods receipts, issues, warehouse transfers, transfer requests. From the mobile device, I can take a look at a specific item. I can see what's in stock, what's committed, what's available. It's not batch tracked or serialized. If it was, I'd be able to get a list of those and what bins. In this case, I'm just going to get a list of bins for this item. On the sales order side, we support the various ways that one could pick and ship SAP Business One orders. So in Business One, I can simply do a copy to delivery. And we have that function right here as well, sales order delivery. And what I did is I have a pick list off this that I created that's barcoded. And here I'm just going to be scanning. I would scan the bin that it came from. In this case, I'm just going to look it up for this demo. And enter or scan in the item. Line 2. What bin am I picking it from? The quantity. And obviously I could pick partial quantities and from different bins. When I'm done, I can post a transaction, which does the sales order delivery in Business One. We also support the Business One pick list, so you could generate pick lists, use the pick and pack wizard to generate pick list. And when you do this, depending on how the pick list is generated, we have the ability to do directed picking. So I could just do directed picking on the pick list by itself, and somebody else comes in and copies it to a delivery. The way I have this set up is I'm going to do directed sales order picking. So in this case, I would scan my barcoded pick list. And since this is directed, it's giving me the items to go pick based on the bin order. That's how I have this set up, and obviously using standard Business One with the generate pick list or the warehouse bin tab, you can define the rules of FIFO, LIFO, ascending, descending bins, and so forth. So in this case, I'm confirming the bin, putting in my quantity, and as soon as this happens, this does the pick in SAP. Putting in the next item, it's telling me where to pick it from above. I would scan that, and my quantity. And again, since we're real time, it's picking in Business One immediately and following all the Business One rules for that. Now, after I'm done picking, the way I have this set up is the picker then could hit this delivery button, and I just created a delivery order related to this sales order from the handheld device. Taking a look at production orders as an example. Again, I haven't shown this to you, but we have the ability to process labels and crystal reports from within the handheld. So if I'm doing a production finished goods receipt, I can have it call up a specific label format, and you could define those label formats based on customers, groups, items, item groups. So, and that's true throughout the whole system. If I'm doing pick lists, I can print labels off, sales orders, purchase receipts. So when I start scanning in lines for the PO receipts, I could start printing labels to put on the cartons that have my information on it. In this case, I have a label that prints off on the production. So if I call up a production order, so I do have one item here that's manual tracked. So I obviously I could do a production issue for this item. I would scan the bin it's coming from, and I could just here, and then the quantity that I'm issuing, and I can't use that bin. It already was allocated to pick list or something. Let's try this, and I'll do a partial issue just to do it. And again, it's updating Business One instantly. When I do a production receipt or completion in Business One, I have it set to go to a production bin. That's how my options were set. And I could say I'm going to go ahead and receive all 120. And I have this set to automatically print a label. So every time I do a production receipt, which might be a pallet full, it might be a carton, it might be a tote, whatever, I could print a label off, and this is user definable with whatever you want on here. So just going through it, we can actually do production to pallets, where I'm filling up pallets at the end of a production order and then moving that pallet to the next place in inventory or another production process. Our pallet module and our fulfillment module allow us to build and load pallets. So now I wanted to talk a little bit more about some composite transactions. And we have something called a production backfill. And what this production backfill allows one to do is, if you didn't want to create production orders, but yet whenever you made something or you kitted something, you'd want the system to move that into inventory and automatically backflush its components. So what I have set up is here's a bill of materials for P101. and I would scan, or I would say, okay, I just produced P101 to warehouse 05. I'm going to put it into a production bin, and I just made 50 of them. And I have this also set up to go ahead and print a label for those 50. Now, what it just did behind the scenes is 6 transactions in Business One. It created a production order. It released it. It did the backflushing transactions for everything that was backflushed. It did the backflush of resources for everything that was backflushed. And then I did the receipt from production. And then how I have this set up, it closed the production order. So these composite transactions could be done really anywhere in Business One, right? I showed you the PO receipt transfer request create. And here with the production backfill, we're just chaining transactions together behind the scenes so somebody doesn't have to do them. So that's an example of our production backfill. One of the other modules that we're working on right now is to do inventory allocations. So Standard Business One you have your inventory availability, which we all work with and we all know, are available to promise, or inventory availability depends on where you call it from, where the system is taking your supplies and demands and showing them to you here. What we wanted to be able to do is take it one step further and start allocating supplies and demands. So an example, if I'm looking at a sales order, I can do a right click, and here's that desktop that I showed you earlier. You can create desktop grids that get called from Business One menus, but they all could be called from Business One right clicks. So here I just simply have, I want to look at the inventory allocations for a specific sales order. I can see 288 are coming from inventory on hand, but now I'm short in order to make this sales order of 500. And I have this set up on a lot of the screens. And again, this is a beta version right now, but if I'm looking at an item master, I can look at the Agility item allocations. I can see, if I just wanted to see warehouse 05, I can see I have 225 available. I have a PO that's coming in for 1,200, and all those are available. And then I have sales orders and production components demanding inventory on hand. So we're going to be able to use this for pick list generation. We could even turn this into hard allocations down the road, where I can't print a pick list unless I have inventory that's been hard allocated to say that sales order. And we have the same thing on the production side. If I can get to a production order that's open, where I have the ability to say, okay, what's calling for this production order? And I could see that I have 22 available from this production order to be used elsewhere, but then I have sales orders. In this case, I activated quotes, and another sales order that's calling for a quantity on this. And then I also can look at my component supplies. So all the materials that are called for this, in this scenario, everything on this bill of material is coming from inventory on hand. So in theory, I could release this to the shop floor because all the components are available. So that's something that we're working on right now. We hope to have it released by the Biz One conference in later October. And again, we have short videos that are between 1 minute and 3 minutes on our website that allow you to look at all the transactions the help transactions in Agility, to where if you wanted to, maybe we'll just do a sales order directed picking, you can just go through these, and even an end operator could just simply sit through a 1 or 2 minute video to get an idea of how this works. So all these videos could be viewed online, but again, an operator doesn't need a lot of training here if we're sticking to our standard functionality. And, just viewing that video a few times usually takes care of the initial or basic training. So we've recorded this video, this session, and we're going to send everybody a link to it and post it to our website. So at this point, we're not going to take questions, but go ahead and contact us, and we can line up a discovery session and then a follow-up demonstration. Or if you want to talk to your Business One partner and have them contact us or contact them with you, we work with partners, obviously, as well as working direct, as needed. So I want to thank everybody for your time and look forward to hearing from you in the future, and have a great day.